Hello, hello, and welcome to the Traveling Toolkit. I'm so excited to share with you this strategy that's helped me for, gosh, like 8 years now to start to really find a foundation for myself to make sure I'm healthy throughout my travels. I'm going to share a little bit about myself. I'm actually coming to you right now. I am in Portugal, in Porto. And so this strategy here has helped me through endless jobs where I traveled for work, the nomad life, all sorts. So I'm going to share a little bit about myself and then we're going to kind of walk into the actual toolkit here. So I am the founder of Balance Blueprint. I've been doing this for about 7 years now. I was in medical field and I was traveling from hospital to hospital, helping with oncology. And then I went into orthopedics. So really just in the car all the time from hospital, driving all around Southern California and trying to help as many patients as possible. Right. And then eventually I moved into this full time where I started to help people to take control of their health, learn about their blood work, learn about what they need to be doing to optimize hormones and feel the best version of themselves, lose fat, build muscle. And it allowed me, it was a vehicle that allowed me to be able to travel. And so I started off going through Central South America, all the way down to Argentina, where I landed for a little while. I met my current partner there, and she is actually Brazilian. She's incredible. And she is a doctor, and her medical studies took us to Portugal. So now I'm in Portugal and still working and still helping people. But throughout that whole process, I've done bodybuilding shows. I've stayed on my routine. I really, really want to make sure that people realize you can do that too. You can be in a good rhythm and find your rhythm wherever you are. Doesn't matter if you're in Chicago for work, Nashville for a conference, at home, wherever you're going to be, you can find a good rhythm to allow yourself to find that foundation. Right. And so really my dive into the health and fitness aspect was from losing both my parents really, really young. They got sick. They were sick for most of my childhood and they both ended up passing. And so that really led me to realize, okay, the health and sustainability of our practices are really, really important. And from someone who has OCD, ADHD, like it's very hard to make sure that those traits transfer, right? And when I say that, I mean, if things are not the exact right way, I would get flustered. So through this process, I've been able to kind of break those habits and be able to work within the paradigm of wherever I'm at, right? And so we're going to start with like the mindset and the core principles, right? And so the controllables are what we're going to control here. And so we want to control movement, food choices, hydration, and sleep. Those are things that you can control anywhere, right? Doesn't matter if you're at a gym or not. Doesn't matter if you have access to groceries or not. You still have choices. Even if you're at a conference and they're providing you the food, you still have choices on what you can eat and what you're not going to eat. On top of that, hydration is one of those things that we tend to forget about, right? Traveling really, really dehydrates you. And so if you're not in the forefront of your mind around electrolytes, around magnesium, around having a water bottle that travels easily, it's very, very easy to get caught up in getting stuck, right? The next big one is sleep. And this one is absolutely massive. Sleep is the biggest predictor of you finding success with fat loss, with your hormones repopulating the way we want them to. Sleep is absolutely crucial. And so those late nights where you're traveling from one place to another, you're on a plane, you're trying to figure out when your sleep schedule is going to calm down, that can affect things like cortisol, that can affect things like estradiol, testosterone, all of these different things that play this symphony in our world can be affected by these patterns, right? And so if we don't have a good pattern, our cortisol can shoot up, our sympathetic nervous system can shoot up. It leads us to making poor decisions, eating things that we don't necessarily really want to be eating and going down a path that isn't great. So if I can do this while I travel, you can do this while you travel 100%. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, right? And so intentionality is the big one here. So intentionality is going to win. If you're not productive in this process, you're going to say, okay, I'll see how it goes. I'll see what's around. I'll see what food is available, right? And that's going to set you up for failure. So being productive, going back to like that OCD piece that we talked about, right? It's not about being overly oppressive on what we're needing to be doing, but it's really about making sure you understand what decisions you can make before you make them. For example, I went to Ecuador for a week and I found my Airbnb. I found a place that I could work. I found an area that I really liked. And then I ended up shifting it beforehand because I saw the gym was closer to a different Airbnb. So I shifted the Airbnb. I found a local food prep service that was able to prep my meals for me. And that became my intentionality around, okay, in Ecuador, I have my gym, I have my food, and I have my home. So it makes it very, very easy. So if you're not intentional, if you're not realistic and intentional, I was like, I'm not going to walk 30 minutes to go to the gym. I would like it closer. Right. And so that intentionality and that planning beforehand really helped to set myself up for success. Literally 10, 15 minutes, like I'm saying, 10, 15 minutes of prep can prevent, 5 pounds, 10 pounds of regain if you're on a weekend trip for work. And then the biggest one that I talk to even my clients currently about is self-negotiation. We tend to do such a great job at negotiating with ourselves. Well, I'll just have another drink, or I'll just have, two, three, four, and I'll just go out to eat this time. And, and I'll get dessert this time. Right. And the self-negotiation starts to go up and up and up. And before you realize it, it's not even self-negotiation. It's just a habit for you. Right. And so I really want people, I talk to them about being intentional around what are my habits? What am I deciding to do before I leave the house? Even if you're going out on the weekend with your friends, how many drinks are you having that night? And then locking that in, not going over that, not going, and kind of blowing that out of the water, and then making sure that you stay on track with your calories as well. It's a big one. It's a big one. And so the I'll figure it out later mindset just really does not work, right? This is where I really lean on technology, right? And so AI food tracker, little plug, right? We have a food tracker that's an AI where you take a picture of it, or you can literally type out a description and it'll show you exactly what the calories are. It'll show you exactly what you can do later to make it a better option next time, and how many calories, protein, carbs, fats, fiber, all that kind of fun stuff will be pulled from that as well. So whatever you do, I would impose on you to make sure that you start to journal, at least journal what you're eating, because that will bring that intentionality around what am I eating, right? And you don't have to do that for the rest of your life, but it is very, very healthy and easily manipulable while we're going through this initial phase of trying to shift things. And so that's a massive one. The AI stuff that's coming out is so helpful to make this simpler and easier, where you're not like trying to log every single ingredient that you're eating, right? Next section that I want to go over, so this is a good leeway, is in the nutrition, right? So clarity, intentionality over restriction, right? So build meals around protein first. If you're going out to eat, protein and then fats and then carbs, right? And that'll actually fill you up faster. That'll help with your glucose spike. It'll help with a lot of different things, but it's going to be really, really helpful for you to be able to know that, okay, I am fixing my satiety, my hunger, by having the protein first. And that is less likely to store as fat, right? Carbohydrates or fat store as fat a little bit easier. And then using carbs strategically, right? Around workouts throughout the day. But as we're getting closer to dinner, especially as we're traveling, those carbs can kind of sit and they're put into the piggy bank of storage, which ends up being your gut, to be potentially used as glycogen and energy later. But being really intentional around the carbohydrate intake and when we're doing that is going to be super, super helpful. So I would limit carbohydrates for the morning parts of the day, unless you're going and working out. Hydration and electrolytes are a non-negotiable. There's 4 main crystallized salts: magnesium, potassium, sodium, and calcium, right? And so you get sodium usually throughout the day when we're going out and eating, but magnesium is the biggest one where we're not getting. And so those liquid IV packets, they're great, but those are not even giving you I always recommend. I have a powder form of magnesium I really like, but if you have magnesium glyphosate, something like that to help you sleep, that is going to help with your hydration more so than you realize. And then making sure if you just have one of these, you drink 2 to 3 of those a day, you're solid. But a lot of times what happens is people don't bring this with them when they're traveling, and then they're SOL, right? And so having that water bottle, having that thing that you can bring with you is going to be super, super helpful. Alcohol, I drink. I like wine. I like beer. I like a lot of things, but keeping it simple is going to be your best bet. Tequila, wine, vodka, soda. Where we start to add on a lot of extra calories, and this is why it's really good to actually journal these things, is when you start having this sugary mixed drinks. It can be 400, 500, 600 calories for one drink. So starting to be intentional around that is really, really important. Perfect. That's the food part. The food part tends to be the hardest. And what I notice for people that works really well is finding trends. What do you tend to like to eat in the morning? What can you bring with you as a snack? What can we do to make this a system so that you're always enacting those things? Next section is the hotel or Airbnb game plan, right? First off, grocery store. Don't be afraid to cook, especially if, let's say, you're doing more than 4 days at a place. Go to the grocery store and grab food, grab snacks. If you don't have a kitchen access, grab things that are either you can put in the fridge or grab and go, that kind of stuff. I love rotisserie chicken, protein yogurts, pre-cooked rice, quinoa, Microwavable veggies are really good. Oats, berries, those pre-made protein drinks, beef jerky, all that kind of stuff, right? A lot of these hotels also will do like a hotel breakfast. So I talk to a lot of clients about, okay, eggs, maybe a little bit of oatmeal. We can bring our own protein powder and add that, fruit, water, really be intentional around those. Don't just be laying on the pancakes, right? Airbnb, like 10 minutes of cooking is better than 3 bad restaurants, and it saves you money, right? So protein, carb, veggie on your plate. I usually tell people a fistful of protein, a fistful of fats, and then as much veggies as you want, right? And that helps you to really gauge how much should be on our plate. Again, using AI. We have a blueprint GPT that I can send you. Just go ahead and comment GPT, send me a message that says that's GPT, and I'll send it over. And this is pretty freaking awesome because it'll go through, you can analyze your food with it. You can ask it, hey, here's where I'm going to be. Can you recommend restaurants? Can you recommend what you eat? Right. And use it and work with it to help give you ideas. Right. My favorite piece, the fitness while traveling. This is actually so much fun if you do it correct. Right. Because there's things like ClassPass. There's things like gym, like 1-day gym access, where you can go around and get a feel for the area. I remember I was in Austin for a conference, and I found this little local gym, and I met the nicest owner of the gym. It's super cool guy. He gave me a key to the gym while I was there for 4 days. And I got to really get to know people, the area, just from picking that gym and being there. Right. So making sure that you are intentional around knowing where it's going to be, right? Like I talked about with Ecuador, walking, exploring, and seeing those areas. Building grounding habits when you land. I'd say, whenever I get to a new place, working out is the number one thing you're supposed to be doing to get your blood flow moving, to get your body readjusted to the area. It's really, really helpful. And so I have my clients send travel dates, time windows, equipment access, and we'll actually build everything out for you or help you find a gym with day passes where you can go. So super, super simple. A lot of people will just bring stuff in their hotel room and do a hotel room workout or a hotel gym workout. I had client Scott, who did all of his workouts with 2 dumbbells, because we could assume that every hotel gym would have 2 dumbbells, right? He lost 47 pounds in 6 months through this strategy, through this blueprint. So it's doable. It's very, very, very doable. And he actually got really lean through it too. He's right up here. Where is he? This guy. Right. And so we had visible abs. Same with Jordan here. It was a very similar story. Right. And so this is not rocket science. It's really about finding your process and what works best for you, and then planning ahead. And that's why clients love working with us, is because we just tell you what to do. Right. Once we get momentum, energy will build. Once you start feeling better, once you start feeling like yourself again, you start to build that momentum, and it becomes easier and easier. And so the travel toolkit here that I would recommend for everybody: reusable water bottle, travel supplement case. You know what they look like? It's sort of like grandma keeps up in the in the top shelf, right? Electrolyte sticks, magnesium glycinate, protein powder packets or bars. I would do vitamins, creatine, that kind of stuff. And then, I would ask ChatGPT what you can also bring. I'm typically, our clients will start with blood work. And so we'll build out kind of a full list of vitamins and minerals that are travel friendly, that you should be taking as you're going. And so that's going to be really helpful. So for example, traveling to Nashville for work, before the trip, I would pack electrolytes, magnesium, protein bars, vitamins. Upon landing, I would check out the hotel gym and take pictures of it for either ChatGPT or for your team to actually build everything out for you. I would go to the local grocery store or somewhere nearby, walking distance, grab chicken, yogurt, fruit, rice cups, greens. I'm freaking crazy, and I don't mind eating chicken cold. You might be different, right? You might not be as crazy as I am. And then daily goals, right? A lot of these conferences or places you're going to, maybe you're staying in one place, right? So really focusing on, it's a new city, go out and enjoy it, right? Rather than going from the conference room back to your hotel room and going to sleep, it's going for a walk. It's going for a couple walks throughout the day. It's doing one workout every 4 hours. It's indulging, but not overindulging, right? That not self-negotiating. And so I have some meal and mindset advice here, but really the biggest one here is this guy. My OCD is kicking in, as you can tell. But it's build a replicatable process. And that is what we are doing, is trying to help you to find that process. So, okay, I'm going on a trip from this state to this state. Here's everything that I need to do in order to stay organized and stay productive on this trip. Because let's be honest, how many times have you gone on a trip and said, oh man, this is, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to go. figure it out, and then I'll come figure out my goals when I get back. And it consistently happens over and over again. Doesn't matter if you're driving every single day on a daily basis as a long haul trucker, or if you're flying to other countries, right? It's a mindset of, you know what? I'll figure it out, right? I'll be honest. Like when I was first doing the traveling thing, right? For Nomad, right? I would be in a place for 2 or 3 days and I'd be like, you know what? Screw it. I don't really need to figure this out. And that is going to bite you in the butt. That is going to bite you in the butt because that mindset is going to be what stops you from actually unlocking the pattern that's going to work well for you. And so what we would help people with, what we do help people with is meals on the go, the AI, the understanding of what we need to be choosing and picking, workout systems that adapt to your life so you can figure out and learn the education into what do I do when I go on this trip? What do I do when I come back? All that kind of stuff. AI tools that remove the guesswork. And then personalization through the blood work, I think is really important for vitamin and mineral deficiency, hormone deficiencies. I found out that through traveling, right? Your wear and tear on your body, if your cortisol's all over the place, my testosterone was in the toilet and my cortisol was super, super high, right? And that can affect things more than you realize. You're feeling that shift that's starting to happen. You're not crazy. You're probably not getting your body what it needs, right? And so there's a natural ways to readjust your body to get it back to where we want it to be without having to take medication or peptides or TRT or that kind of stuff. And so if you are on this process of trying to build your own blueprint of what is going to work best for you while we're living our life, reach out. Let's jump on a call. It's absolutely free. I'm happy to game plan with you. And I'm happy to share a little bit more about how we can support you through that process if you're open to it. But otherwise, this is, again, the process that has helped me through years and years of traveling to really nail down the non-self negotiation, planning ahead, and knowing what are the smart, healthy options to choose. So I hope you got some value out of this. If you have any questions, DM me. My DMs are always open. And I hope that we get to chat soon and I could support you in any way you're needing.